Okay, well, let's get started. So my name is Todd. I'm a program manager here in the School of Continuing Studies, and I look after this new program in digital marketing, content marketing, and then there's another program which is digital and content marketing. And I'll explain all those things to you very shortly in some more detail. We have a special guest with us today. She's actually not online just yet, so hopefully she arrives very shortly. Michelle Cody, who's an advisory board member, and she's also a senior director of digital marketing at Rogers Communications. And she's going to share a bit about her experience and share some insights into the world of digital marketing. So hopefully she shows up soon and she can share more about her background and, again, share some nice insights, which I'm not able to. And with that, I should say that as the program manager of this program, I really manage the program. So from looking after my instructors, hiring them, worrying about the curriculum, marketing, retention, budgets, all that good stuff. But I am not a content expert. So Michelle and sort of the other folks who are on the advisory board, they really kind of help me shape the program and figure out what's most important, all the knowledge and skills areas. Oh, good. I think Michelle is here. So let me just mute Michelle. Perfect. Okay. Again, I don't teach any of the courses. So during this session, I will give you lots of information, but if you have very specific questions around content, Michelle might be able to answer some of it. Otherwise, I'll have to get back to you, reach out to some instructors, and they can best answer those questions. And Michelle, I've already introduced you, but I will have you share more about yourself shortly. So just a quick agenda for today. So I'll just give you a little sense of why you should choose York. I'll talk about the digital and content marketing program in a little more detail. As I said, Michelle will share more about her story and her background and share some insights into the world of digital marketing today. I'll take you to our website and show you around a little bit and kind of how to apply. If you haven't been to our website, I'll show you kind of some of the places you might find some more information about course descriptions and etc. And then obviously at the end, we'll have lots of time for Q&A, and I can stay on as long as needed. So if you guys have lots of questions, we can certainly have a very long conversation. Two quick little housekeeping items. I am recording the session, so if people need to jump off for whatever reason, I know Scott needs to jump off early at some point, not a problem. And I think it's usually 2 days we'll send out the video to everybody on the call, and if people are not here, they'll obviously get it as well. And you can certainly share that with colleagues. If you have maybe your manager wants to learn more about the program to maybe approve your participating, you can certainly share that with whoever you like. Some of you have already used the functionality, which is great for the questions. So if you have questions, certainly post them. I probably won't answer them during the session because I've got a couple of screens open. It's just kind of hard to look back and forth. But I will certainly at the end go through all the questions and stay on as long as I need to answer them. Okay, so we're going to start with some poll questions just to get to know you guys a little bit better. So just give me a sec as I set that up. Okay, so the first question I want to know is, I just want to know which program people are most interested in. So we do have 3 programs. The 3-course certificate in digital marketing, the 3-course certificate in content marketing, and then there's the full-time version, which is the 2 programs plus some additional courses. All right, perfect. So you can see from the results that there's the thing that people are most interested in is the 3-course digital marketing program, which is great. That's the one that starts in January, so that makes the most sense. A few people are for the content marketing, and then a number of people, which is great, for the full-time program. And I'll speak about all 3 programs, but just knowing that a majority of you looking for the digital one, we'll certainly focus on that a bit more. All right, the next question. I just wondered if people are working in a marketing role, just a yes or no question. Are they currently working a role and trying to specialize in digital or content marketing, or are you kind of new to the field? All right. I think everyone has voted. So you can see from these results that actually a large number of people do work in marketing, which is terrific. So the The fact that a lot of people are doing the digital program makes most sense that you have some experience, because really it's kind of a specialization within the field of marketing. So that's great. The fact that people have no experience is not a problem, so don't worry about that. But it's nice to know that people will have some background in marketing, some fundamentals, to then really delve deeper into the course topics. All right, last question is, based on the answers, obviously, if you don't have any experience, you won't be able to answer this question, but just wondered how many years of experience people have in digital marketing. So is it 0 to 1? Actually, 1 to 3 doesn't make sense. 3 plus. My numbers are a bit off there, so sorry. It should have been 2 to 4 and 4 plus. But anyway, it'll just give me a general sense of people's background. So you can see from this that people have some again, my numbers were a little bit off. But anyway, that most people have some experience, which is great, and some people don't have any. So, that's no problem. That's why you're, I guess, here today. So one of the things that we've done with our program is we know that people are busy. They balance in life and work, and finishing these kinds of programs in an accelerated way, finishing faster so they can get into the workforce or get to sort of their job that they're doing in digital, that they can actually take on those responsibilities. So, we built the program to be as accelerated as possible, with keeping in mind that there's obviously lots of content to learn. There are real-world projects, which was mentioned in the video, and that really is around taking the different assignments and trying, not just applying it to, say, an example of Tim Hortons, but in some cases actually, and we're still working out the details, but you'll actually be working with real companies on their real problems in the digital space. So you'll be interacting with directors and working in a team to actually learn what their problem is and then work to solve that problem. So that's really exciting for us, and that will really give you a nice sort of portfolio of work that you can then take to maybe a new job to sort of demonstrate your experiences and your competencies. So yeah, we're really excited about incorporating some of these real-life projects into the program. And then obviously is the flexible format, just because we have part-time and full-time. So depending on what works best for your schedule and your needs, you can certainly choose the one that works best for you. So here are the courses. You may have seen these on our website. So there are the first program is the 3-course certificate in digital marketing. So that program includes fundamentals of digital marketing, marketing for search engines and social media, user engagement, and marketing automation. So I'll just sort of, again, not being a content expert, I'll just read a little bit about what each course is, like for a sentence or so, just to give you a sense of what you can expect to learn. So the first course in fundamentals of digital marketing, this course lays the foundation for understanding the ecosystem of digital marketing. It explores how media is consumed across all devices and platforms. It gives you an introduction to SEO and SEM, privacy issues, etc. So really just a foundation to sort of the digital space. The second course, which is marketing for search engines and social media, looks at how search SEOs and SEMs are different and how you can drive traffic to your website. It also looks at some of the key metrics of how you figure out what success looks like for your digital strategies. And the third course, which is user engagement and marketing automation, looks at ways to improve marketing automation to improve efficiencies and reduce costs. And that revolves around emails and social media and other web actions. So that's kind of, in a nutshell, what those 3 courses are about. If you go to our website, which I'll show you shortly, you can maybe find a bit more information. And then we have a program in content marketing. Now, I know there's only a few people who have an interest in that program, but I'll share a bit more what that program is about. So the first course, the planning and analysis course, looks at, again, strategies and best practices, looks at audience insights, also looks at KPIs and sort of metrics, why content's important, how it impacts ROI, so your business sort of return, who's your audience, and how to best engage them. So again, looks at the sort of foundation of content marketing. The second course around content creation looks at the different kinds of content, what works where, editorial versus branded, content writing, editing obviously is important, and that's being looked at and optimized by each channel that you might be using in your digital strategies, writing for SEO, storytelling, copywriting, etc. And the last course is about how you actually promote your events. paid versus earned versus own media, looking at different influencers and how you might interact with them and engage them to help promote your products, awareness, conversions, and retention. So that's really just a quick overview. Again, hope that kind of made sense for people. If you have specific content questions, I'm happy to try and answer them. If not, maybe Michelle can answer them. And if not, we'll try and get one of our instructors to help. So as I said before, you've got your two sort of standalone programs in digital marketing and content marketing. And then the full-time offering combines those two programs. And then it also includes a course in fundamentals of marketing and business in the digital age. And those two courses are important because we're really trying to give you a sense, especially if you're new to marketing, because this is sort of a new area for you. You get just an understanding of how marketing functions, you get an understanding of how business works and where marketing fits into business. And then you can sort of dive a little deeper into the content. So that's an 8-course program, and that's a full-time program. So that's sort of in class, full-time at York. The two certificates, the standalone certificates, are blended. And I thought it would just be helpful since some people may not be familiar with the term blended or not really sure what it means. It basically means that it combines online and classroom study. So there's 7 weeks of online and 1 face-to-face in class at York on a Saturday, Sunday. So that program doesn't have any direct entry, no applications required. It's actually about 7 months, and I'll show you what that looks like in a second. It's cohort-based, which means that students who sign up for the first course will take the second course, will take the third course. There are graded assignments and projects. So again, when you go into the course, you'll have different activities to assess your knowledge and your mastery of the knowledge. And I also just thought it'd be helpful to know that our instructors are practitioners. They're not full-time faculty here on campus. They're practitioners who are very familiar with the current trends in the field. They're certainly connected to what's happening. They're not just spending their time doing research on campus. They're actually working during the day and then teach in their off time. And here's just an example of what the blended schedule may look like. So on our website, you can actually look at the specific dates. But basically, there's the 8 weeks. The second week, it's actually the end of the second week, I believe, is the weekend block. And that means you'd be coming to York from like 7 hours for the day and really kind of interacting with the group, working on projects, getting your team sort of to be a cohesive unit, and then go back onto the online format. Once that 8 weeks is over, there's sort of a week break, and then we actually have another class. So the duration of the program is around 6.5, a little shy of 7 months. All right, perfect. So, and then the people who are interested in the full-time, here's a bit of what that schedule may look like. You can see that you're in the same room at the same time. That is the time frame for the full-time. It's 3:30 to 6:30, so people that are trying to balance a little bit of work, they can do that for most of the day. It'll certainly be a challenge if you try and do that, but that is the time of the program for full-time, which starts next September. And you can see that you're in class 4 days a week. So in the example, on Monday, Wednesday, you're in Fundamentals of Digital Marketing, and Tuesday, Thursday, you are in the Business and Digital Age class. Each class meets with 3 hours for 12 sessions for 6 weeks. And this program does have an application process. So that's your interest. It's not really onerous. Just want to make sure people have a degree. It's a post-degree program. Okay, that's enough of me talking. I think now I'm going to invite Michelle. I'll turn her microphone back on. Michelle, are you there?
I'm here.
Yay. Okay, so I'll turn it to Michelle, and we'll have a little Q&A, and then she'll share some insights into some more about digital marketing. And then we will, at the end, we'll have some questions and answers. You can ask her all the questions you like. So, Michelle, I'll ask you the first question. If maybe you want to take a second to sort of share your background.
So how did I get here?
Yeah, so your journey to sort of become the Senior Director of Digital Marketing at Rogers Communications.
So it was not a straight path. I started out my career in engineering. And so I've always been pretty comfortable with numbers and analytics, but I didn't love it. After I changed industries 3 different times, I realized that it wasn't where I was working, it was what I was working on. And I had to change the role I had in the organization. So as a result, I moved to marketing and I've never looked back. I love it. Worked in pretty much every marketing function. So I've been in product development and product management and product marketing and base management and acquisition marketing. I've kind of touched them all. And over time, my career has naturally taken me towards digital marketing. And I think part of it is that I'm pretty analytical, and so it was important to me to understand the measurable benefit of the advertising that I was placing in the marketplace. About 5 years ago, I had the opportunity to lead a small venture on behalf of Rogers. This venture was called Zoocasa. Some of you might be familiar with it. It's an online real estate venture. We didn't have a storefront, so improving my digital skill set was not only essential to my employment, it was essential to the success of the company I was overseeing. So really, I had a great opportunity there. I learned a lot, got my hands dirty in all areas of digital and content marketing. And really what I learned through my experience there, I have brought to the current role that I have today. And today I lead the digital marketing team for our business group. And that includes the development of creative, purchasing media, content, our web and social experience, and all of the marketing tools that we use to enable all of these experiences.
Excellent. And what would you say, Michelle, are some of the trends you see in the digital field in the last, let's say, 3 to 5 years?
So 5 years ago, digital was really just about buying AdWords or search engine marketing and optimizing your website, so improving your SEO results. But since then, I've seen a big shift. So there are a few other things that we're actually starting to see. Social media in digital has grown significantly. So organizations who started out a number of years ago just utilizing social to create general awareness for their brands. And now what I see, some brands are actually using social to provide customer support or to augment their customer support. Here at Rogers, on the business side, we use social as a key part of our selling process and lead generation. I've also seen the role that content plays grow in importance. So content used to just be white papers or really long research pieces. And today I see content taking various forms: blogs, infographics, buying guides, videos, and more recently I'm starting to see interactive pieces of content that actually deliver a very different result depending on how customers have answered questions as they have been engaging with the content. Content also is starting to play a variety of different roles within the customer journey. And we're now seeing content at every stage of the customer journey. I've also seen a big introduction of marketing automation tools, things like Marketing Cloud, Marketo, HubSpot. There are many others that I could name, but these tools are starting to become more prevalent, and most organizations utilize some type of tool to assist with customer engagement. And lastly, I've seen a huge shift from a budget perspective. And so 5 years ago, traditional media, so radio, TV, print, out of home, these assets really made up the bulk of any marketing department's budget. Today, you will actually see a lot of organizations are now spending the majority of their budget in digital. And part of it is that they can actually quantify the results of their campaigns. More recently, I'm actually starting to see new things creep in, and it'll be interesting to see what comes of them as artificial intelligence and AI actually gets included into a lot of these platforms that we use.
So how would you say that this shift has changed the role of a digital marketer?
So the reality is that digital has changed the role of marketers overall. Today, there is a greater expectation, regardless of where you sit within a marketing organization, that you can explain the value of your effort and what your efforts are actually delivering to the organization. For example, my team is held accountable on a regular basis to explain how $1 of marketing, what it is actually responsible for in terms of revenue. So we have to provide marketing spend to revenue reporting. And that really is as a result of digital being so prevalent in the marketplace. I've also found that digital campaigns are more integrated than traditional media campaigns. And as a result, digital is changing the way teams have to work together. And so in the past, each group kind of behaved almost like a little island. And so you'd launch a campaign, and as long as your out of home was on or your print turned on, radio and TV, sure, you might have to synchronize the times that they turned on, but the interdependency that these things had on one another was not as significant as you see with digital. And so people who are strong collaborators and team players tend to be more successful in this field, because it really is very important to bring the whole ecosystem together.
Would you mind sharing maybe a campaign or something you worked on that focused on like the customer journey and sort of share what made it successful?
So I'm going to take you through an example that I've spoken to at a number of activities. And the sneak peek to the end, Rogers actually did win an award for this campaign. So we were launching a unified communications solution for small business customers. We had a few challenges. We had to introduce Rogers as a provider of business phone solutions. We needed to actually create awareness of how our solution was different. And lastly, we had to provide leads to sales. We needed to create a new conversation with our customers, and we had to figure out what to talk about and where to engage them. So we started really by asking prospective customers, and what we discovered is that we had to sell a product that customers didn't even know that they needed. This is a sizable challenge for any marketing organization. So we decided we actually needed to take a different approach than what we had done before. The regular stuff actually wasn't going to work in this case. So we actually mapped out the customer journey. So pre-awareness, awareness, research and evaluation, all the way through to purchase. And at each stage of the journey, we looked at what type of content assets would actually help nudge the customer along in their journey. And so we had to look at a number of different content assets. So it wasn't the same thing. So we had things like just more assets that explained what was unified communication, assets that were checklists, infographics, and ultimately we had some customer testimonial videos to actually demonstrate to customers why it made sense for someone else, put them in the shoes of somebody who is actually using the product. But for each stage of this journey, we also had to look at the mix of medium. And so it's not just about developing the right piece of content for where the customer is at in the journey. It's also looking at where do customers want to go to learn about things when they're at their different stage of a journey. And so we had to leverage a mix of different digital mediums also, so SEM, Google Display, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, to reach customers where we discovered they would actually spend their most time during each stage in this journey. This approach really allowed us to effectively engage customers as they went through their process. And as a result, we successfully delivered leads to sales, which ultimately was our goal. Marketers are really here to help sales sell, and we exceeded targets. And like I mentioned at the beginning, we actually managed to win an award for the campaign.
Awesome. Last question for you. That was really interesting. Last question is, just wonder what advice you might have for students who are new to the field, or students that are actually been working in the field a bit but want to maybe specialize in digital or content marketing.
So this is a very dynamic area. Things are constantly changing and evolving. And so if you enjoy that, if you want to be in a field that is it's not the same from one month to the next. New things are continuously being introduced here. So I personally enjoy the fact that it is continuously evolving. It keeps it very interesting. But what I have found is that really most marketing roles require experience in digital, even if the role isn't a digital marketing role. The reality is there aren't enough people with these qualifications, and so those who can put digital and content marketing on their resumes do have an advantage over others who don't have it at all. So I would recommend getting experience in this area if you want a career in marketing. I guess that would be my 2 cents. How's that?
That's perfect. Well, you're certainly in a position to sort of share that advice, so that's helpful. Well, thanks very much for all that wonderful insights. I appreciate it. If people have questions for Michelle or about the field of digital, again, post them to the question board, and at the end, we'll do a Q&A. Excellent. Well, thanks, Michelle. That was great. So before we jump to questions, I just want to do one quick thing, if you just would not mind indulging me for a second. Okay, so here's our website. So I assume most people have been to the website, but just want to point you to a couple of things. So you can certainly cruise through this. There's some sort of infographics and stuff, but at the bottom here is where you can choose your program. So if you want to do the certificate in digital marketing, you would click on that particular program. There's some more information here about the program, about what's being offered. There's Cora, who you saw in the video, and a little bit of a quote from her, how the program is being delivered, finished in 6 months. So I was a little bit off on my math. But if you want information on the courses, there's some information. So there's all the actual course outline, course description, sorry. There's the learning outcomes for the whole program, so you can see it from a whole, what you'll end up with at the end. And then if you want to apply the program, you click on the enroll button. It'll show you the cost of the program. So these programs are the same for international students and domestic students, if the international students are already in the country. If you click on the program, you will see the different dates and the in-class dates, so you can kind of plan your schedules accordingly. And then you can register, and literally you just then follow the prompts. So again, if you go to back to the main site there and you scroll to the bottom, you can click on for the full-time program or just the content and get the same kinds of information. So anyway, hopefully that's a little bit helpful. I'm going to try now and take you back to my PowerPoint deck. Let's see if I can do that. All right, perfect. And the last slide I'll just keep up if you wanted it. It's just the information about who to contact if you want more information or you want to apply. So there's obviously our website. Carmel is our student advisor, and she can answer all your questions about the program or the process to enroll. Allison is our registration coordinator, so she can answer questions about payments and whatever, so she can talk to all those things. You can make an appointment in person, or you can telephone us. But I'll leave this slide up as I then go through all the questions. So I'm just going to go through the questions one by one. And if it's a question from Michelle, I'll kind of allow her to answer it. And if it's for me, I'll just sort of go through them. Okay, so the first question looks like it's from Stephanie. Is working directly with companies an essential component of the certificate? What would be challenging for someone like me who works full-time in a senior communications role? So great question, Stephanie. Yeah, you'd have to certainly find the time to do that work, but it's just a project. It's just an assignment. So maybe you're not the person in your group who's be designated to sort of interact with the company. Maybe there's someone else who's going to, put together all the questions, and you're going to then pose them to the person who's on the other end who's adding their insights. So from that perspective, you don't have to be that person. Obviously, the kickoff with the company, you can maybe do it in the evening hours. So you can kind of work around that. Most people are balancing work and life, so you just have to make the arrangements with the person. But it's just like doing a project or a case analysis. You're just doing it with a real company, so that's the only difference, where it gives you that real life experience and really gives people a chance to kind of strengthen their communication skills, their teamwork skills, their critical thinking skills. All these really wonderful soft skills, which are important for people to be successful getting jobs, but really more importantly, staying in the job. Okay. I think this one's for you, Michelle. It says, Michelle talked about content assets and its importance at every stage of the customer journey and its growing importance in the digital marketing. What kind of coverage of content creation and assets, if any, is there in the digital marketing certificate? So maybe that's not a question for Michelle. I don't know if she's comfortable answering that one. Probably not, Michelle. Is that right? Because you don't really know the curriculum details.
It was part of what we had suggested be in the curriculum. So
do you want to talk to that then?
So what I discussed in terms of different content assets at different points in the customer journey, those different content assets my understanding, will be included within the course. Here's the reality that you will find is that there's not the same awareness asset that works for one product will not work for another product, okay? And so at the end of the day, it always comes down to understanding what are the challenges that you are trying to actually incent your customer to purchase your product. So because those things are different assets actually will work better. And so I'd say the fundamental thing is learning how to know your customer and then getting familiarity with the different content assets. So infographics, videos, this interactive content that I talked about, but then choosing which one to use at each point in the journey really is a decision that you make based on what you know about the customer and what you're trying to convey to them.
Okay, that's excellent. Dave, if that didn't answer your question, shoot me an email through Carmela, and I can sort of try and get you more details about the curriculum that's being developed. I mean, again, Michelle and the advisory board were giving us all this wonderful insight and advice and guidance and strategy. But if you've got more detailed questions, I'm certainly happy to try and get you the information. Okay, so the next question is from Syed, and that question is, do you have any plans for an internship for this certificate? At the moment, the answer to that is no. There's no work placement or internship component at the moment. Certainly, if you reach out to somebody to say you wanted to volunteer somewhere, I'm sure they'd love some extra support. But there is nothing that's structured through the program at the moment to have an internship. Okay, the next question is from Kendra. Kendra wants to do the full-time program, but also has a full-time job. She wants to know if she can take the content and the digital programs separately, and then just take those two extra courses, the marketing fundamentals and the business in the digital age, as separate to kind of put the whole thing together. Interesting question. Haven't really thought that through. I suppose if there's space in the programs, then that's fine. We can allow you to do that, but we may have some space issues and capacity issues. So at the moment, I'm always honest and pretty upfront about these things, but we have 9 students when I checked yesterday enrolled in the program. The cap is 30. We had 70 people who registered for this session. So will we get to 30 students? Hard to say. If we do, I'd be very, very happy. But really our goal was to have 20 students. But if that's your plan to do both programs separately and you want to try and get into those 2 other courses, if there's room, I'm happy to have you. If there's no room, I'll have to give preference to the people who are signed up to the full-time program because obviously they've got a whole program to complete. So hopefully, Kendra, that answered your question. Raul is asking if this program can be turned into a degree. The answer to that question is unfortunately not. They're standalone and you can't use these courses for a degree at York. Okay, it is 1 o'clock. It's after 1 o'clock. I think I should probably shut this off because I know people have busy lives and I have some other meetings I have to get to. Anyway, thank you guys so much for being insightful. Thanks for all your questions. Thanks for being so attentive. I really do hope you consider our program. I think it's going to be great. We've got some great people who are developing the curriculum and will be the instructors. We have a great team of advisors who have been giving us guidance along the way. And hopefully we'll have a great group of students as well. So I'm going to sign off. If people can't, if you have additional questions, just send me the Carmel an email and we'll do our best to answer them. And have a great afternoon, everybody. Thanks again for all your time.